Okay guys, does anyone just want to chat with me? I came home early, I'm like laying in bed, but I've had a weird day, okay? We'll just say that. And it started with a video I was watching by Professor Sam Vaknin. I YouTubed a question because I was trying to, he breaks down narcissism like I've never experienced before, and I think he's honestly helped me like break apart and whatever some past situation and help me understand narcissism and what I was dealing with a person. But he's also really smart in other areas too, so I suggest anyone check him out. I wasn't sure if he was like an atheist or what, but I think he's just Jewish. I don't know, but he would bring up in some of his videos about God and Jesus being narcissist, and I'm like, a lot of this stuff, when you think about it, I can see how someone would say that. But you know, and as someone who I was believing I'm a Christian. I believe I'm a Christian. Lately my faith has been like I don't know, it's not been fading. I'm like, I don't see how I can not believe in God after being saved. I just don't see that. And also like knowing all I know and thinking all I think, I'm like, there's no way for me to say there's no God, you know? So I don't see that happening. I think as far as my faith has been like, I don't think God wants anything to do with me because I've been making some mistakes. I've been repenting and then making the same poor decisions again as far as like eating. And I don't know. I'm in a weird place in my life where I need to forgive myself about some guy I was entertaining who he didn't pull me away. I don't know. But this is not the point of that. The whole narcissism thing about God, it kind of like, I was like thinking today, because I'm like, I don't want to watch it, but I don't want to be like someone who doesn't want to listen to other people's opinions, because that's not fair. And I want to be able to argue my faith with like, and justify it, right? Which I learned is apologetics. Not really, I guess, not in the way that real apologeticist, or is that the word, can do it. But I realized like I've had this idea for like this podcast, but I'm like, well, right now I can't do the podcast because I am obese and I don't have anywhere to do it right now. I'm just still trying to get my life together. But and there's still a lot more I need to learn so that I can articulate my thoughts and execute it the way I believe I should. But also my faith, it feels like this war right now where I'm like, I don't know, it's just a lot. It really is a lot. But this video is for all the comments I was reading, like under all these videos. Like first it was about the whole God and Jesus being a narcissist thing, but by Sam Vaknin. But I just think it's weird when people just pinpoint Jesus. Like they don't bring up any other is it deity or anyone else. They don't bring up any other religions or anything, or any other prophets or whatever. It's always Jesus. And I'm just like, why is that? Well, obviously we know why. When you're a Christian, there's an understanding of all of the world that makes more sense than if you don't. If you're an atheist or you don't believe or you don't have faith and you haven't really cracked open a Bible to try to interpret it a different way. I haven't read the whole Bible yet, but I'm just saying a lot of the stuff they say, it's like a different language almost, and you'll only really understand it when you're like born again. So it's hard to explain. But a lot of the comments, people, there's so much I want to say, and I'm like, even though there's other people who have studied apologetics and talk about it, I haven't listened to every single one of them. I haven't listened to any really. I've only heard about people, you know, explaining or arguing their faith, but I haven't listened to everyone. The latest I was hearing from was Frank Turek or something like that, and obviously he has great arguments, but I would read the comments and people are just like, it's like, if you don't want to understand faith or God, if you genuinely just don't want to, because no matter what you tell an atheist or someone who doesn't believe, they just they don't want to believe it. It's like I thought it was an ant. It's like you're talking to a brick wall, and it's like, wow, you read the comments and I'm just like, these people are just so, it's like you're so, like, you think you're so smart, but you're really like so stupid. And to understand faith in God, you genuinely have to have humility. Like, you have to be humble and you have to be extremely open to it. But that's not the case, because everyone's so proud. Everyone believes, not everyone obviously, but people, atheists or anyone else, they just think they're God. You think you're many gods. And it's like, that's what's getting in the way of things, of you understanding. So it's frustrating reading them. But my thing is this, it's like, it's like no matter how big and bad you think you are, as a human being, you have limits. That's what we need to, you have limitations. A lot of them, their argument is like, we can't comprehend these things. We can't. So that doesn't mean that there's a God or anything. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because I'm like, when you have faith, you can comprehend all of this. You can comprehend life, you know, because you can accept that you have limitations as a human being. When you can like say that out your mouth and mean it, that's when you have humility, one. And two, that's when you'll understand, I'm a human, I have limitations, you know, only I can understand what like other humans have discovered, right? Oh, sorry, this is gonna be a long video. I'm just talking. I'm just talking right now. I don't expect everyone to watch it or anything. Maybe some background noise. But I'm just trying to break this down and get it out my system, because I think about this a lot. And I talk to myself about it a lot, because I'm just like trying to articulate it so that I can argue the faith too. And it's weird because it's like my faith right now lately hasn't been like super strong. Like I'm not faithless. I'm just like in a weird numb feeling. And I don't know if that's just I'm kind of not depressed, but a little sad about that situation, whatever. But I still have that, that humility, where I know that I'm limited as a human being, you know, so I can't understand God, you know, but I can give him credit, right? And I think that's the problem with atheists and agnostics, or people who just don't want to believe, is that they don't want to give credit to God. They don't want there to be a God, because if you do, that means you have to believe what he says. If you believe what he says, you're scared, you're scared that you're not doing things correctly and that you'll probably end up in hell, right? Which makes sense. So I burped. Which makes sense, right? But that's when I didn't believe, I guess, like a few years ago, or I didn't want to believe, because like I grew up like, you know, Catholic or whatever, but you know, in my 20s I was like, you know, doing my own thing, and I didn't want to believe in God because I didn't want to be held accountable for my behavior. I wanted to just do whatever I wanted to do, you know, and the thought that I could probably be punished for this was like, well, if I don't believe in him, that means it doesn't exist and I'll be just fine. But not only did I end up punishing myself by putting myself through all the things I experienced by doing whatever the hell I wanted, I realized like I forgot what I was about to say, but I just realized like that wasn't the way to do things, you know? That wasn't life. That wasn't what God wanted for me. Oh my gosh, I literally forgot what I was saying. I don't know why I do that, because my mind's all over the place. And you're gonna be like, why are you uploading this? I probably might delete this just because it's not clear on what I'm talking about yet, but I just want to be able to get it out, like I said, so I can break it down or whatever, or just get it out. These are things I think about all the time, right? So anyways, but yeah, human understanding. We are limited. You have to be humble. Like, life will humble you, and I think that's a disservice that a lot of us never get to go through. I've gone through a lot of stuff, and I think that's why it brought me back to like faith, because yeah, you realize you can't do this life thing on your own. And the Bible and the concept of God and Jesus, it just makes way too much sense. Like, it just makes too much sense. And it's like and it's like, why not choose that? Why not believe that? That's what I don't understand. There's people who are arguing so hard for the non-existence of God or Jesus, and it's like, why? You know, you can only think it's like a satanic thing where, you know, the devil doesn't want you to follow Christ. The devil doesn't want you to live a better life or anything. So of course he's going to come up with things that make you turn away or like not want to believe or like keep God out, so that you can keep doing whatever you're doing because it makes you feel good, but it's not good for you and it keeps you away from God, right? And the Bible says that, right? Or pretty much, I'm sure. I know it does. Obviously, the devil doesn't want you to worship God, right? So it makes sense that people are always picking on Christ. Oh my gosh, I'm like all over the place. There's so many. I should have wrote it down. There's still so many arguments for everything, but the bottom line is, I guess, is like, not the bottom line, there's so much more to it, is that I just wish people would understand, like, God created everything because he could. Like, it's as simple as that. And it's like, none of us are smart enough to complicate it more than that and understand it. I'm like, I feel like it's just that simple. Like, he's God. You don't want to give him his credit because you don't want to be held accountable for your actions and what he says is a sin. You don't. I know you don't. A lot of people don't want to do that. I even have I had to struggle with that, where I'm like, I want to do whatever I want. And if God doesn't love me for it, then I don't believe in him, right? That's what you think, you know? But if you do believe in God, then you have to abide by his rules if you want to go to heaven. Apparently, you know, I mean, obviously, I don't know if there's a heaven. I do not know, as a human being who can say that. But I mean, according to the word, there is, right? And why would God want just anyone to come live with him? Do you want anyone just off the street to come live with you? No, you don't. So that makes sense why we have to live a life, right? If you can like understand that we have a body, a mind, like in our mind, and a spirit, but the spirit belongs to God, it just makes everything just makes so much more sense. Like, I'm just like, your body's just a vessel for your spirit to roam this earth. It's like, yeah, to roam this earth and do God's will. And we have free will, so we can make our own decisions on if we want to choose God or not. And if we choose him, then he's like, okay, yeah, you can come live with me when this is all over. But he wants us to experience that in the world. There's a world life because it's that amazing. Because he created it. Like, if I was God and I had the capabilities to create all of this, why wouldn't I create something perfect and amazing? Like a human being. I mean, we're not perfect. I'm just saying the creation itself, like everything is just so amazing, right? Our arms, our eyes, the fact that we could see things. Isn't that crazy? Like, do you guys think about stuff like that? I'm like, ugh, when I think too much, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. But do you think about your eyeballs? Like, just think about, like, we have eyes that can see things. Oh my God. I don't even think about it too much because I'm like, oh my gosh, that is insane. Ears to hear things. Things make sounds. To touch. Every single thing about us is so designed so amazingly, perfectly. And when you understand, like, you have limitations as a human being, then you can understand that there's something greater than you that must have created you. And we have certain traits of his, you know, but we have limitations. Like, I can't create another planet. I cannot create another planet. Can you? No. I'm like, okay, because if I could, then I would be God. But I'm not God. I can't do these things that he can do. Nothing just appears out of nowhere perfectly. Nothing does that. Nothing can, and nothing will ever will. Why are there so many different species of animals? Like, why can't we just have one animal? Like, a bunch of one different animals. And I don't know. I don't understand. Why not? Had the earth just was like, the earth, you're telling me the earth just decided to like create lions and giraffes and spiders? Are you like, why? What's their purpose other than us being able to see all these different amazing creatures that God can create? Because he can, because he's God. Right? Does that make sense? I don't know. I won't make sense to anyone who doesn't want to understand what I'm trying to say. And then people are like, who created God? Well, it's like, when you ask questions like that, it's okay to ask questions, right? But if you're asking it to not understand or get an actual answer, then that's the problem. You know, if you think about it enough, you just realize like God has always existed. Like, he's always existed, and he chose to create us for his glory, right? And if he can create all of this, why couldn't he create a heaven or a hell? You know? Why doesn't life just go on forever? Why do you die? That's an example of our limitations. Humans, we can't live forever. You know? So it's like, yeah, that should humble the frick out of you, right? I don't know. I just don't think everything just came out of nothing or from nothing. It just doesn't make sense. And that brings me to my, I guess, it's not a conclusion, because there's still so much more to say, but it's like, it doesn't benefit any of us to believe that there's a God. Like, I guess people think it's just a coping mechanism, or like just wanting to like understand our, like, why would I want to understand? If nothing came from nothing, then why do I want to know this God? Why would any of us want to believe in a God? Why? It serves us no purpose. If we would just want to run rampant in the world, do whatever the heck we wanted, and whatever, then we would have no need for a God. But the fact that he's even in our minds, I'm just like, he has to be there. So someone just came up with this amazing concept, and we just want to follow it for what? There would be no reason. So it makes sense that God put it in our minds, or, you know, back in the day showed himself to people, so that we had something to like to know where we came from or why we're here, to help better understand our lives, or the purpose of life. And the purpose of life is because God could. He wanted to create us because he could, so that we can look around all these things and see all these beautiful flowers and animals and all these amazing things that people have discovered. We didn't invent these things. No one invented water. I can't invent water. I can't create a man from nothing. I can't just create things that have never existed before. I cannot do that. I cannot just be like, zap. I can't do that. I can't create a seed. You know, I could plant a flower, but I can't do anything else. So I'm just like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine. It doesn't benefit me to have a God, but I'm just like, well, I can acknowledge that there is one and give him the credit. And when you can give him the credit, that's humility. And it gives you a lot more peace and understanding of like life and just the world. And then all this different religions, yes, people have created all these different religions. Yeah. But the whole, like, concept of it is a good thing. So I'm just like, well, what's the point of us like not wanting people to believe, or being so adamant on telling people that there is nothing, there's no God, blah, blah, blah. I don't get that. I just don't get it. I don't get that at all. It's weird. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, what's the point? There's no point in believing in a God other than just realizing, yeah, he created all of us because he could, and I'm here because he wanted me to be here, and yeah, I have a purpose, right? We all have a purpose, and that's to do good, spread his message, right? Something like that. I'm just kidding. But there's something else I was gonna say. Is I guess I haven't heard anyone really talk about why we all have like, why we're perfect. All human beings, like how amazingly we were created. Like all of our systems and our, like I said, our eyeballs, like who just magically chose 2 eyeballs to like just be like, that's the number. Why don't I have an eyeball on my top of my head? You know, on the back of my head? Why don't I? Why don't I? Did I ever have that? No, I don't know. I don't think so. So just right off the bat, we were all created just perfectly. 2 legs, 2 arms, 10 toes, eyeballs, reproductive systems. Like, I have a uterus. Like, why? Why can't I just think really hard and make my own baby? Why do I have to rely on something else to help me create a child? Why can't I do it on my own? Who, like, at some point did humans just have like 1 eyeball, and then our bodies just developed, was like, you know what? I think we need 2. But you know what? First I'm going to try to make 3 and see how that works. And then it was like, no, 2's the magic number. We're going to all have 2 from the beginning of time. That's it. Like, right? Does that make sense? That's something I think about, and I want to answer for it if anyone can answer that, if you watch this far. But I'm like, who decided that I should have hair? Like, you mean my body just like developed into this thing, like this perfect thing? Like, why? Why are we all different colors? Why? Like, when you think about that, I'm not asking why because I want to answer. I know the answer. It's because God could. Because he can. He wanted us to not be bored here. You know, and all these, like, science and all these different things that we discover, he put them here so that we weren't bored. We had something to do. Isn't that funny? He put all of them here just for us to, like, learn about it. But some people get carried away and they think just because they discovered it or they know a lot about that thing, that that's the answer. But I'm like, you can't create that thing. Like, you can't create the sun, the moon, the stars, and water, and all these elements. You can't recreate it out of nothing. You'll have to use, like if I just sit here and I'm just like, I don't know. I can't, there's nothing there. I can't say, I want a planet in the middle of my hands. No, I can't do it. I can't do that. How? I just don't understand how everything can come from nothing. So, I don't know. I'm talking a lot. I probably made no sense just because I think this is the first time I ever like said this to the camera, my thoughts. But they go way deeper than that. But it's something to think about, you know? It's a lot. It's so much. I'm literally just sitting here like, oh, what's the point? Well, there is a point. Why would someone want you to believe in God? You know? Why? And then people are like, because they want to control you. They wrote the Bible to control people. To control them to do what? To do what? To live a better life? To empower you? To give you a set of like rules and understanding on how to be a somewhat decent person so that you can make this life, this world, a better place for your neighbor? Wow. What's wrong with that? He said, don't covet your neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not commit adultery. I'm like, okay. What's wrong with that? Is something wrong with that? Would you want someone to fuck your wife? Like, pardon my French, but I'm just saying, like, people will just are like, they just made the Bible to control you. It says, thou shalt not kill. Would you want me to kill you? Do you want that? Like, I'm just like, duh. Obviously, it's something that's very good. Do you want me to steal and rob everything in your house? No, I'm sorry. I'm just like, to control you to do what? If it's someone evil, like the people in this world that are evil, that do want to control people to do something evil that benefits them and their families, I can understand. But the Bible doesn't teach you to be evil. That's the thing. If it was teaching me to go do all these horrible things, teaching me, it might tell stories of things that were not okay, I guess, but it's not teaching me to go out and do these things. If anything, it's saying the opposite, not to kill or steal or cheat on my husband. So I'm just like, control me to do what? To do good? Oh my gosh. Like, and you're mad at that? You're telling me that there's something bigger than me who created all of this, who loves me enough that he wants to save my soul from torment? And I'm supposed to be mad at that? I can't believe in that. Like, you guys, like, those people who argue that don't make any sense. Like, people were mad. Like, it's so much. Like, does that make sense to you? Wow. Somebody loves you other than your stank ass mom? Like, who doesn't care about you, who beat you since you were like fucking 12 years old or whatever? I don't know. Excuse me. I'm just saying. It's like the Bible is such a good thing. When you actually understand or have a relationship with Christ, like, it's such a good thing. And to try to tear it apart and be so adamant that it doesn't exist, it's not real, it's all fake, like, it doesn't make any sense. You don't make any sense when you're like that. Like if anything, it shows that you're evil. It shows that evil exists and that the devil is doing what he does, trying to stop people from living their best life and feeling good and happy and loved. He wants you to be miserable. He wants you to destroy your life, waste your life, and then just burn in hell. That's what he wants you to do. So anyone saying or trying to take away Christianity or, you know, knock your faith, that's what they're trying to do, and that's what the devil does. So it's like, well, it makes too much sense then. If you're proving him right. If it's all fake, that's what he does. And by you saying that's trying to take away someone's faith or convince them otherwise, just makes you like just like him. So you can prove that evil or the devil exists. I guess, if that's the evidence you want to use, right? I don't know. It's a lot, you know? So I'm sure no one's going to really comment. No one watches my videos like that. But it's fine. It's fine, because I'm probably going to take this down. I'm just bored right now and thinking, I want to get it out, you know? So yeah, it's a long video. But there's more. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them the best way that I could, you know? I want to get into apologetics, but I'm like, I don't know. I have a lot to learn. I would have to go back to school, take out loans. I don't know about that. So, but I don't know. There's still a lot I want to learn. I want to know. But I'm in such a weird place right now where I'm like, I wish I was like that on fire for Christ Christian that I was like a few months ago probably, or maybe a year or something, before I met this last guy. But I still believe in God. I'm just like, you know, I'm still like, I don't know, I feel like I'm reserved about it now versus like spreading my testimony all the time, right? I don't like that. I want to be like, yeah, he did all this for me. He did. But I just feel like, I think I have imposter syndrome right now. That's what I have. Like, I have my apartment. I'm like out of the mess and all that stuff. But now I'm like morbidly obese and heartbroken. So I'm like, well, I don't look like God's in my life anymore, right? I don't know. We'll get there. I just have to believe in myself again. And then, you know, see God pull my life and make it even better. Pull my life together and make it even better so that I can, you know, be who I'm supposed to be and say what I'm supposed to say. Because I really have so much to say about this. Okay? All right. Good night.